Ultimate Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing so y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, some interesting news, right, which we already knew was going to happen. Pretty much everybody knows about this news is legend. The legendary 8th Division champ Manny Pacquiao is set to fight up-and-comer Ryan Garcia. I don't really have any accolades for Garcia yet, except that he has 8 million or something. Is it million? I'm not sure. But it's a whole lot of Instagram followers. And he's a good boxer, right? Good boxer. His claim to fame is beating Luke Campbell with a nice body blow, right? So this is going to be on. I just think people should basically ignore this fight on principle. You know, I am. But I'm not like most. I am on principle. If it's an exhibition, it might get watched. If it ain't a good basketball game on or something like that, maybe. But it will have no merit, and we have our reasons why. Let's make this clear. Manny Pacquiao can do what the hell he wants to at 42 years old and being a legend, right? We understand that. Ryan Garcia, on the other hand, seems to think that already, and he was able, and this is where I got irked by Garcia, and I knew this was going to happen. He was able to beat Luke Campbell in the interim fight to become the mandatory for Devin Haney, and then don't want to fight Devin Haney. He's mandatory. He started talking about Gervonta Davis, which is still a good fight, but I told you what that was, right, in other videos, right? That was comparable to Jaime Munguia not fighting Demetrius Andrade and saying, I'd rather fight Golovkin, right, because they're easier. Or Lomachenko saying, I don't want to fight Devin Haney either. Let me fight Teofimo Lopez. Stuff like that. But he was telling Gervonta Davis just a week and a half ago that his legacy will be tarnished if he doesn't fight him. That's what Ryan Garcia was able to say at 21 years old and not even being a champion, right? And you're talking to your boy Gervonta Davis, who isn't a champion at 135 because we don't count regular. So we're going to be consistent. We don't count regular championships. That's not a championship. But at 130 is a champion, right? Knocked all his people out. Very well respected in boxing. So for somebody up and coming to tell somebody who's already a champion, your legacy is going to be tarnished if you don't fight me, right? And then turn around and don't fight him. That's just going too far, right? Instagram is not boxing. You have to separate those two, right? So that kind of irked me right there. So, this is King Rye being able to tell somebody that. And that leads me to believe that he's had that talk, right? That these boxers have, at some point. They don't know it at the beginning. Like the Eastern European fighters that come to America, they don't know when they're in the Olympics and they're getting booed and stuff when they fight Americans or something like that. They think that America, the Cold War is still on, and they don't think they're going to be liked when they go to America. And then they get the talk. And it's like, hey, you know what? I could be Kovalev. A total dirtbag. They're going to like him more than Andre Ward, a stand-up guy, right? You get that talk. Hey, you don't have to fight these people. A Lomachenko could come over and fight 3 fights and become #1 pound for pound because he was awesome in the amateurs, which is not the pros. Although Lomachenko had a couple of awesome wins, the Nicholas Walter win, the Gary Russell win, stuff like that. But those didn't they come after the Salido loss? So they get the talk. Golovkin handled his business, fighting guys that are smaller than him, running through them, right? But he was heralded as the best guy in the last 25 years. So those Eastern Europeans come over, they get the talk, right? Teofimo Lopez thinks, hey, we got a tournament. I have to fight Comey, then I have to fight the winner of Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. And then Lomachenko doesn't fight Devin Haney, and then fights him, and he beats Lomachenko, and then everyone tells him, you don't have to fight Devin Haney anymore. We're going to just say that you're the undisputed champion. That's the talk I'm talking about. Ryan Garcia must have got the talk. Tyson Fury knows he's a dirtbag. Wheatus called him up and said, man, we're doing another Teenage Dirtbag Part 2. We need you for the video. They called Tyson Fury up. A dirtbag. We know it. He's been for the whole time. But, it's like, so is Trump. So, 75 million. So people love the guy, because when he's talking smack, when you remember Tyson Fury on ESPN, how were the people looking when he was just talking smack? Look at the crowd. It's the same look at a Trump rally. They don't care that he might have cheated, right? He might have cheated, and he's cheated before on several occasions if he's doped or gloves or whatever. He's not a stand-up guy. We know that. Anybody, and don't patronize yourself, right, by acting like you don't see that, right? You do. It's just you really don't care. So those things keep happening, right? And Pacquiao versus Ryan Garcia or McGregor, for that matter, is okay, right? Everybody's okay with it. They weren't okay with Mayweather versus McGregor, but they're okay with Pacquiao versus Ryan Garcia. And my issues is this simple: is Ryan Garcia is 2 divisions lower, right? He's not a champion. So what we're gonna do? We heard that this could even possibly be an exhibition, which I think it probably should be. Just let it be an exhibition or whatever, right? And the guy's going there, and he has the following like a YouTuber or something. He's got a following on Instagram, and Pacquiao and him go in there and have a little exhibition. Cool. What has to happen though is simple. Pacquiao has to relinquish the WBA welterweight championship. He's 42 years old and he doesn't need it anyway. But while he's doing those kind of things, right, then there can be clarity in the welterweight division. And I don't think that's too much to ask. Then that belt is up for grabs. Let me tell you how it should go down. The WBA should just put it up in the fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Right? Just put it in there. And I know you'll be like, well, why shouldn't they have to fight it? Don't say that, because then you're going to run into the wall of, didn't we just put the WBA when the Canelo fought your boy Callum Smith? That was for the WBA title. The WBC just came in and said, we're going to put the WBC title on the line and you don't have to fight for it. And to make it even put the cherry on top, we're going to give you Yildirim for the next fight. And Yildirim, everybody keeps saying about Yildirim. Man, he ain't fought in 2 years and he's coming off a loss. And they leave it at that every time. Because everybody seems to just look at each other's videos and just spit what the other one did. Do your videos before looking at other people so you can have your own, whatever you think. Because that's, the fact that Yildirim is off 2 years, okay, that's bad. The fact that he's coming off a loss, even though it's a close loss to Andre Dirrell, right? Yeah, that's bad to come off a loss and still be up there. But I think it gets worse if you go 2 fights before that. The one before that, I think it was somebody, and I'm not going to go look, because I looked, a month ago or something. He fought a guy that got 40 wins and 14 losses before that, before the Dirrell fight, right? And before that, he fought somebody with 3 wins and 31 losses. Now, somebody with 31 losses, I've said in another video, if they fought 150 times, 31 losses ain't that bad, right? But if you won 3 and lost 31 fights, right, and you fighting a dude, so that means a dude is 3 fights away from a title. He's fought somebody with 3 wins and 31 losses. He shouldn't be in the title mix, but that's what they did, right? So the bottom line is, going back to Pacquiao and Garcia, just simply release the belt so Terence Crawford and Errol Spence can fight for undisputed. And speaking of Terence Crawford, right? This is what I was saying about Terence Crawford all the time when we're talking about Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is the A side over Terence Crawford and everything. And I try to tell people, listen, Terence Crawford is undisputed, which no one is in boxing other than Alexander Usyk, right? And yes, when he was fighting those guys, Victor Postal and the likes, people he wasn't really the favorite over Postal. People thought Postal was going to do something. Even me. He beat the hell out of Postal and everybody else he's fought. There's been distance. People were worried about Kell Brook fight. And he beat him easily. And then afterwards, well, Kell Brook is not all of that. So he was undisputed, and he's number 1 pound for pound. Those are things. But he's also the guy that Pacquiao would not fight for 4 or 5 years. Though that's a badge of honor, right? No one wanted to see him versus Pacquiao. Why? Because they don't think Pacquiao is going to beat this guy. They don't like what can possibly happen there. And they said it often. His own promoter and Bob Arum, right? So we can't see that fight after all those years. Even when Terence Crawford was at a lower weight division than Pacquiao, when Pacquiao was at 147 and he was at 140, It still couldn't happen, right? But we're gonna let Ryan Garcia. So my point is, Terence Crawford wasn't given the opportunity to beat the hell out of Pacquiao and become that superstar that he should be. Because he is, in my eyes, and I'm pretty sure everybody in boxing, like we talk about to boxers, right? The people who really get in the ring and know what the hell is going on, those people will tell you Terence Crawford, right? If they ain't on TV. Some people, once you get on TV, you got to say certain things, like Canelo Alvarez. Which anybody that's saying that to me, I don't really care what somebody say. If you're saying Canelo Alvarez is number one pound for pound, something's wrong with you when you got other fighters and you know all of these details. So the bottom line is Crawford didn't get that opportunity. And matter of fact, to fight a younger Pacquiao. We ain't talking about the one at 42, right? We're talking about the one at 36, right? 35, 36, 37. He could never get him. So and that's why I have issue with this. But at the end of the day, they can do what the hell they want to do and fight. But it probably should be an exhibition, and then it's cool. And another thing, and just simply give up that WBA title so we can get undisputed at 147 pounds, and then you will have no complaints from me. And I think that another thing is we should just simply, if that's not the case, and they're trying to make it an official fight, it should be ignored. It will be here, but it should be ignored by you as well. Let's see what happens going forward. It's not really negative versus, against any of those guys. It's just the fact that, let's get to some real boxing and get some undisputed somewhere. And that's the consistency here. My goal is always to see undisputed at these weight divisions when we have thousands and thousands of belts. That's all this is. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And we up out of here, y'all.